Every now and then, you have a super hot blonde Barbie simultaneously call out big pharma, big government, and all of Hollywood. And today, that is called Karmageddon, bitch. Iyah May, welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.
Deemed the celebrity whisperer by Playboy.
This is the best interview of the day.
Thanks for having me.
You hit the nail on the head.
100%.
Period, yeah.
Touch them. They're cracking me up.
Wear them, baby.
She's good.
Taylor Ferber.
I am so excited to have you. You are so fucking vibelicious, okay? Just a little background, guys. This woman is so balls to the wall. She walked away from her label, her contract with her manager, Riding or Dying, for lyrics that were controversial, that she wanted to keep in her viral protest song. Very kind of Oliver Anthony, but with your own twist. Iyah, I am so excited. This is Karmageddon. Oh yeah, I don't sing it nearly as well as you, obviously, but I'm so excited to have you.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's so good to connect.
It is. She is such a champ, everybody. She's joining us from Australia. It is 9 a.m. And look at this one. She has the sweet, innocent face, fresh as a daisy. Meanwhile, like I said, she's cutting the balls off of simultaneously big pharma, big Govt. I love it. So, Iyah, without further ado, obviously, like, I'm just so in awe of you, obviously, like, going for it. Like I said, all the vibes. So you have gotten it all. You've gotten love. You've gotten back by, like, Joe Rogan. You've gotten flack. You've been called by some a red-pilled Taylor Swift. You've had some who've thought you are a literal AI. So with all of it, what sticks out the most to you? Like, what really sticks with you and why?
Yeah, there's been so many comments and messages from people, which I appreciate. And obviously there's haters as well, but I don't care about that. It's probably the people who have told me that the song makes them feel less alone and gives them hope. Like, that to me is why I do music and why I make art. And that is like the backbone of the song too. It's like a message of hope, really.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar at all with the Oliver Anthony song that went viral here in the States, but like very kind of similar, just honest, like undercutting all of the big institutions that be, and so populist, and it resonated with so many people. And like you, he was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, sorry. And so, I assume though it's easier said than done when you're like, I don't care about haters, because like they can be really gnarly. Like, and even like doing what you do, and I want to talk to you about this as well. I'll even have like Karens, right, who will be like, you need to dress more appropriately if you want to be taken seriously. Like, I'm sure you get all that. How do you really let it roll off your back if you do?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and especially like a lot of artists are quite sensitive. I'm definitely a sensitive person, and you do see the hateful comments amongst the others. But I guess you just remind yourself why you're doing it in the first place, and not be too attached to the hate or all the love, in a sense, like a bit of a neutral place to protect your heart and, surround yourself with the people that support you, your day ones, your ride or dies. Otherwise, it does get a bit too much. Sometimes being online and on socials every day, as you would know, is just like, it's a lot, it can be overwhelming. But if you just remember like your roots and why you're there and not be too attached to any of it, then, it helps a lot.
Well, things like a red pill Taylor Swift, or literally videos going around about you, like, is this woman AI? And you are living, breathing, I'm talking to you right now. If this is AI, this shit is very sophisticated. Those are really, those are pretty hefty claims. What do each of those, what did they initially make you feel, react when you hear that? Either one or both.
I thought Red Pill Taylor Swift was cool, actually. I just laughed. I saw some videos of saying, is she AI? Maybe she is. Is she the Red Pill Taylor Swift? I was like, cool, that's fine. That's a compliment. I'll rep that. But yeah, the AI is funny. Like, I thought that was hilarious as well. Like, I sent that to some of my mates, and a few people messaged me and they're like, are you a robot? I was like, how did you know all these years?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time. It's just funny, I think. Like you just brush it off and people are wild. Like the internet is the Wild West. It's just like
Mhm.
people are gonna say anything they want, but I think it's actually hilarious to be honest.
What struck me, Aya, about the AI was like, why would people think it's AI? And it's like, right, because in my mind, this is just like was my interpretation. It's like you're so hot and you're so, like I said, like cool Barbie, but the messaging is so fearless and in your face that my interpretation was like, A, like how could this even be real? But B, it's like it's kind of sad but true and also such a testament to what you are doing, which is like it's so bold. Like what human would like put themselves out there like this? Like this has to be backed by some propagated like some big institution that wouldn't put themselves out there in human form like that. And that's a testament, like I said, and kudos to what you're doing, right? Because it's like what human would actually like put themselves out there like this in such a bold way, which I think is so kick ass.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, it's just me and my music producer. Like we're the team. It's just us two, and it's a lot. Like it's busy. It's good though. But like these lyrics come from a real place, and the whole last 5 years affected all of us. We were dragged through the mud through so much bullshit, and that just like inspired so many ideas. And one day I sat down with my music producer Danny, and we're like, what can we write about that's really heartfelt and to the core for the human spirit, but like also going on in the world right now. And I tried to make each line of the song like really target something, something hectic. And it's not saying something's right or wrong. It's just a conversation piece.
Okay, so with that, and we're gonna get to the COVID of it all. Another thing about Aya, like you thought, this is what I love, just off the bat about her, she's also a qualified MD. Like plot fucking twist. But I actually have some of your lyrics written down here. So let me just warm up my vocals. No, I'm just kidding. I am not gonna sing them, but just so people know. Okay, so here are some. I'm gonna read my doctor hand scribble, but so you know exactly what she's talking about. This is just one set of lyrics. Gender, guns, religion, abortion rights. You better pick a tribe and hate the other side. Keep scrolling, but did you see Taylor live? Like I have chills. If that doesn't say it all, I don't know what does. So before we get into the COVID of it all, the really controversial lyric that caused such a tizzy with your team and both like, on the internet, again, something that really strikes me about you and that really obviously resonates with me, like my brand is like my motto, mantra, like tits out, brain out till the end, is how you are this like you look at the video and it's like you are like this gorgeous little Barbie and you are just like cutting at the man, like the big dogs. And I want to know how that makes you feel and why it's like the best of both worlds and all of you. Cause like people will say to me, it's like it blows people's minds because it's like the two things theoretically shouldn't go together. And like you make it
Mm,
work. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, it's been challenging. It always is challenging when you want to speak the truth and be vulnerable and really open up your heart and what you believe in. And it's like real serious. It's deep issues. It's serious stuff. It's going on in the world. It's no joke for us all. But at the same time, it's so liberating to speak what's true, and just put truth out there and not give a shit. And it's just like, yeah, daily I'm kind of reminding myself just to be grounded and remember that this can feel like a lot, but at the same time, I believe I'm doing something that's good and it's contributing to good in the world, and it might actually help and heal people. And maybe that's where my doctoring comes in. Like I do want to heal people, and music can totally do that. So just remembering that is what makes it all worth it. I feel privileged to be able to write music that gets out there and it's chatting around the world. I feel honored. I feel really grateful for that.
And in terms of like the other facet, the asset that is and facet, that is so again hyper feminine and just kick ass. Like there's nothing, it's like you're just like, here's my femininity. Like here it is, like putting it all out on the table. And I think that that's something that's been so watered down, and to see it in artists like you, Again, it obviously resonates with me. Like, I think it so resonates with women right now. It's like, yes, like I can be this ball buster in politics and also look super feminine in a little skirt and do it all. And that's why I ask, like, that element of it, like, how it makes you feel as a woman, as an artist, like what it brings out in you and why it makes you feel good and like why the two go together for you.
Mm. I mean, I love wearing skirts. I wouldn't say I'm a girly girl. I actually was more of a tomboy as a kid growing up. But I love that we can, yeah, wear dresses and skirts and just talk about big stuff. Like, why not? Why couldn't we? Who's to judge us? If you want to look how you want to look, then let's do it. If we want to be super ultra feminine, then we can. And we can still talk about really deep stuff, controversial stuff. It's fine.
It's so good. It's like, and I'm not just saying this to like blow steam up your butt, like all the way from here in Nashville to you in Australia if it reaches you. Like it is, it's so poignant and it's so hits because it's like you have nothing to hide. Like it's exactly what you just said. It's like we can talk about these big things. And yes, I'm gonna be in these like high socks and little skirts and like the buns on your head. Like it is just so like that. It's so unique and it's just like so fearless. And I'm wondering because, like I said, I even myself will get like the Karens, and oddly enough, like the old grumpy men too, who will say like, "Oh, you want us to take you seriously? Like maybe cover up." And I'm like, Karen, like no one asked you, sweetie. Like go back to your knitting class. Like I'm wondering if you have ever gotten the same sort of, whatever haters or flack or responses.
Yeah, I've got like the schoolgirl Brittany comment, which I don't even mind. 'Cause I'm like,
I was gonna say,
whoa.
swear with pride.
Yeah. I think like the stuff I wear is pretty modest. It's not like revealing as well. I mean, which I think suits the character of this song as well. Um,
How so?
yeah, I mean, and I have no issues with that. Like, if women should be able to wear what they want to wear, and as long as you're not trying to appease like a certain crowd or narrative, like if you're just doing it, whatever, to the Karens.
You froze for a little bit in there, Aya.
Oh,
You froze for a little bit. You were saying, and I completely agree, by the way, with everything you were saying about women wearing what they would just want to wear and who decided for us.
we're sorry, we've got a storm in Sydney at the moment. It might
That's okay. We are braving the storm, both
Yeah.
literally and figuratively online too.
Yeah,
And yeah,
a lot of Air Force going on.
a lot. And no, I love what you said too. And I think there's an element of it too that's like, for whatever reason, people are threatened by like being all things. And it's like, to what you said, it's like, well, who said? Like, who said I have to be one thing? Who said I have to be in a box? And so that's just completely like displayed in what you do, which is, like I said, so badass.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's cool to step out of the box, be unconventional and take a few risks, like do whatever you want, especially with art and music. It's like that is the space for it. That is a space for expression and freedom and liberation. And why not tie it into healing and like a message about the world?
Yeah, no, exactly. We're healing. It's same thing with the storm. It's like we're healing on all fronts, visually, in the ears. And that's the thing too. It's like with your music, you have such a way of getting across such big social points, and it is also catchy as shit. So before we get to that, let's get into the COVID of it all. Because I think this is where kind of shit went down of like the lyric that you wouldn't change. Correct me if I'm wrong. And again, with you, another kind of like trick up your sleeve, like no big deal being a qualified MD. Here's another chunk of your lyrics. Man-made virus, watch millions die. Biggest profit of their lives. Here's inflation, there's your prize. This is Karmageddon. So was the big bad lyric in this section here?
A team thought of the entire lyrical concept. And the man-made virus has been definitely ruffling feathers online. I'm getting a lot of comments about that one for sure. Maybe it's a bit of a weird thing to say, a man-made virus as a doctor, or maybe we're all just thinking that. But the stuff about Israel and Palestine was also super, touchy. I mean, I empathize. It's a lot. It's super complex as well. And yeah, when my manager said, you need to change these lyrics or I'm not going to work with you, I was like, well, we're not going to work together then because I can't change my art. That's ridiculous. It's not your art. It's mine. And I believe in it. And then it evolved from there. So it's just, it went sour after that. So I didn't even get to say, what do you think about all the lyrics? It was just like, all right, bye. he's pretty chaotic.
And what's so unfortunate about that, Aya, and it's so telling and indicative of this entire culture is like there can't even be room for disagreement, or like that's their view, this is my view. Like even the Israel Palestine stuff, like I land on a different place in that, and that's okay. Like my audience knows I'm super, I'm Jewish, I'm very pro-Israel, and like I can completely commend you, your work, your point of view, and the fact that you just like fucking go for it. Like I like, even from what I've seen, like have such respect for you. And it's so sad. It's like we've just washed that away altogether. And it's really unfortunate, and I don't know, how you felt in the moment. Like, was there a part of you that was like, well, shit, like this is like my manager, this is my label. Like, what were you? Because I've been at that point in my career where it's been a fork in the road, being like, do I keep my head down and take the quote easy way or go off on my own? And it's always worth it to do the latter. But, I'm wondering if you had that inner dialogue that was like, well, shit, like this is probably the harder path, but, what was that like?
Yeah. No, it's hard going down the road of your own and just trusting your instincts and intuition. And it was a tough phase. Like my manager pulled out, I don't know, it was a few weeks before the release, which is like, well, I just have myself now, my producer, and no label anymore. But deep down, I just knew it was the right thing to do. And I just felt like such a strong, I mean, it was really just intuition. I know I keep saying that, but I just felt such a strong intuitive response to that. And I just knew, I was like, no, I've got to follow my own path here. And I believe in what I can deliver. And I'm passionate about it. I'm a really passionate person. And all I need to do is trust the process. If you've got an idea and you work hard, and you can do whatever you want in life, I believe. It's like, why can they do it and you can't? Absolutely, you can do it as well. So just keep trusting that process. If believe in yourself. Don't give your power over to anyone else, and be the CEO of your own dreams. And I just kept following that, and so far it's working out.
And when it comes to absolutely, so well said. And when it comes to the COVID issue in particular, and even like your background as a qualified MD, listening to your lyrics, and I was vocal about this issue like when the clock struck, like March 2020 and beyond, very much in line with what you're saying. And even like I had Dr. Robert Malone on, who, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He went viral on Joe Rogan, was a was a co-architect of the mRNA technology, not the vaccine, but the technology used for it. And of course, because of this very thing, he lost his business, was banned from Twitter. Like, meanwhile, it's like he's the most like authoritative figure on this issue. And so why do you think, I have my theories, but why would your lyrics, Dr. Robert Malone's point of view, like, why is that so threatening? Why would they try to censor and shut that up?
I know, it doesn't make sense. Why can't we hear both sides, or just hear people out? Why are we censoring and silencing doctors and researchers? And even on, social media, why are we censoring something that's opposite to a certain narrative? It's like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Science should be considering both options. It's kind of scary, actually, if doctors are told what to say, because then that just takes away the trust that the patient has in their doctor. Like, we don't want to be told by the government what to say to our patients and stuff. I just felt like the whole COVID era was strange, and that some doctors were silenced. And I don't believe in censoring stuff and silencing when it, especially if it's to do with health. Like, I think we should consider all options first. It just felt weird to me what was going on.
And I feel like, not to be, tinfoil hat conspiratorial about it, but I definitely feel like it kind of boils down to control. Like, why can't we get all the information? Why can't we, make decisions for ourselves? Like, you talk very strongly in this song about like, making profit at the expense of all of us, which, like, where is the fucking lie? So, I mean, we're seeing it here in America where, big pharma in cahoots with corporations, they make us sick and then they treat us, but it's never fixated or focused on an actual like prevention and solution, right? So it's like, again, where is the lie? And the fact that like people would want to censor lyrics like this, again, it's like, what are you still protecting? You know, like why? Like to your point, it's like, why can't we air it out and make decisions for ourselves?
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree. But I think the last few years has made all of us a lot more awake and open-minded, and I think that's been such a great thing because I think we've been in the dark a bit. So I feel like we're in a good place now. And now a lot of us are, I know, more skeptical, just more open-minded and are going to question things.
So you spoke a little bit about this, and I grapple with this too as a creator, right? Which is the idea of like forfeiting your unique art, your creativity to become more marketable and like mass marketed and more palatable, right? And I have a friend, Lou Ridley. She reminds me of you, like super hot, so intelligent, and her music is catchy as shit, but so politically and socially message and poignant. Like she's, you know, such a genius at it, you know, just like you. So, you know, w- what to you are some of like, I know you kind of brushed on this, but like pros and cons and like risks of going like, I'm going to stick to my message. I'm going to go independent. And like, would it be quote easier if I did the easier path? Like, yes. But like, is that kind of an internal dialogue in your head? And what does that look like?
I'm such a big believer of doing what is just like really true to yourself and just being authentic. And like life is short. I'm not going to try and make art for anyone else. I mean, I want people to enjoy it, obviously, and I think about that when I make it. But at the end of the day, like what I put my name on is mine, and I want it to be real, and I want it to resonate with people on that level. Like I'm a spiritual person, and I put my spirituality and my beliefs into what I write. It's not just about entertaining for me. It's so much more than that. Like music has healed myself. Like so many of us can resonate with that. Like music is powerful, and it can be manipulated too in the same sense. You know, it can become really dark, and I think it's been used against us in a lot of ways and used for us in a lot of ways. So I guess it depends on what your goals are. Like, do you want to leave a legacy that helps others and serves, or do you just want to make a buck? You know, like, what do you want? And I know what I want. So that was just coming out into what the music I was making.
And it shows, and it's so true. It's funny. I did an episode about this recently about how, you know, and who am I to be the arbiter of art, right? But it's like you have people who are kind of like what I was just saying, like made into a product and sold on a global scale, and like versus just like true artists, like people who inspire, who challenge, who put put ideas out there, push the status quo. And you know, I'm sure you even get as of I like things that could, you know, trigger the algorithm or get more views or get more number, whatever it is. And you're like, okay, but that's not me. And you know, it's annoying to have that kind of voice in your ear. And I'm sure that you get then you kind of have to shut that out. Like people don't know that or see that, understand, you know, all the time. But kudos to you, right, for shutting that up and being like, I'm just gonna do me and whatever happens, happens. Like it's not easy.
Mm. Yeah, well, we only have one chance on this earth, so we might as well do what we love and make it count and just do what's true to us. Doesn't really matter. Like it's hard though. It's a balance for artists nowadays. We have the social media side, which is like actually a beautiful blessing in the sense that we can reach millions of people.
Yeah.
Like the song has, and I'm shocked by that. But it's because of social media that is buzzing around and people sharing it.
Yeah.
But on the other side, we become as creatives like content makers, and it's not always fun, you know. Sometimes it's fun, but sometimes it's really shit having to make videos every day or whatever, post stuff. But like if it's something that you believe in and you think can help someone else, it is so much more rewarding. Like I love the fact that the captions I write and the words I say actually might help people feel better. Like that's what it's giving back to me. It's not about like, look at my ass, which is fine. Like if you want to like that, like
Right. No, I understand.
you know what I mean? But let's do whatever you want to give, and it really gives back to you.
That's a really good way of putting it, and you hit the nail on the head. It's like people will say it's like there's a formula. Like, what did the other person do? And it's like, well, fuck that. I don't want to be that. I want to be me. So, and it kind of does feel like a mass marketed, like, how do I grow? It's sort of this cyclical thing of like growing more like a product, like you said, and with the push and pull of like that and holding on to your art. And, with that said, before we wrap here, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the line between like real when it comes to messaging in art and preachy?
Oh, that is such a good question. And I've thought about that with these lyrics as well. I'm like, am I preaching? No, I don't think so.
No.
I think it comes down to your intention and your personality when you're writing. Like that's a big thing. This song for me was like more of a conversation. So it's like, I just want to bring things into light in a nice, palatable way, or in a cool way, a fun way, where people can just ask questions about what the hell is going on in this crazy world. So I think it comes down to the artist and the way it's written and their intentions a lot, I would say. Yeah.
It is. It's very, again, like, not to just toot your horn, but that's exactly how it feels. It's very just like cool girl. It's like, here's what I think, take it or leave it. Like, that's what comes across. Um, my last question for you is, again, same thing. You kind of like hit on this, but how do you just genuinely, when it's so risky, and it's like you're risking it all. Again, you already have like label, manager, this, like you don't know, you don't control like what can come of any of this by holding on to your mission. Like, how do you genuinely just like not give a fuck? Like day to day. 'Cause it is easier said than done.
Yeah, it's tough because I care a lot about so many things. Like I care about the messages I put out in the world and what I stand for and believe in. But at the same time, you don't want to care too much about the outcome. And I think that is such a hard thing to master. I'm still working on it. Not caring about the outcome of the goal, too much, having them made tentatively because life can change and anything can happen in a blip, life can disappear. But I think yeah, it just comes back to a balance. Not caring too much about the outcome, but really just believing in what you're doing.
Well said.
Yeah.
What's next for Iyah May?
We'll see. I've got a whole lot of music in the bank that I've written and made. Before Karmageddon, I made a lot of songs as well. So I'm just going to keep putting out music, and it's all going to be stuff that I love. So hopefully it resonates again. We'll see.
And I have no doubt. I so appreciate what you do. I think you are a total badass. You guys need to go check her out. And Iyah May, thank you for braving the actual storm on your head in Australia and the shitstorm of the internet and the label and the this and the that. To do what you do. Like, that is what art is about, period. So thank you, and thanks for joining today too. It was awesome.
Thanks for having me, Taylor. You're a legend.